Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Build Your Best Life. Hi, Cynthia. How are you today?
Hi.
Well, everyone, welcome to Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah D. Smith. I believe it is better to train early rather than to fix later. Your words, your steps, your gestures, your handwriting, the movement of your eyes all represent your actions. Your actions are crucial because that is what you show to others. So be careful before you act. So if you are out there, please come on in and like and share as we prepare to get started. My theme for May is crisis intervention, crisis intervention. And I'm super excited to have my guest today, Dr. Cynthia Smith, here from Jacksonville, Florida. And she is my daughter in love as well.
Hi. Yes, absolutely. And this is I've done a lot of interviews. I was just thinking before I started this one, I was like, it's just not this is a different interview because like mother, like it's kind of different. So I'm excited to answer these questions, but I'm nervous too.
Don't let her fool you. Well, we are going to be talking about motivation. The reason I'm spelling it is because it stands for my own time is valuable and time includes organizing needs. So not only is it motivation, but again, my time is valuable and time includes organizing needs. So we have to be very, very specific about what we do, how we do it. So to get started, Cynthia, could you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, or as much as you want to about yourself?
Okay. So I am first of all, I am an entrepreneur. So this topic is just going to go amazingly well. Where I'm sure the questions that you're going to ask me, a wife, and I have two children, 15 and 9, and they're both into two different stages of their life. So I have teenager and pre-teen, so they keep me really busy. And I really don't have time for anything else aside from family and work. That's just all I have time for. So the topic is just going to be amazing for me to discuss and hopefully give somebody else hope that they can do it.
Yes, because she says that's all she has time for, but she does a lot.
Yes, I do. But I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm always, on every interview that I do, I'm always very modest in the intro. We're talking about when people say, well, tell me who you are, what you do. I really I don't know how far to go and I don't know how little to, say. So I just pretty ease my way into it. So I'm sure as I answer these questions, I'll be able to, give a little bit more about what all I do.
All right. Well, Build Your Best Life consists of 5 pillars. I covered the foundation pillar, which is associations, during the months of January through April. This month, we are on the second pillar, which is discipline. And when I say discipline, we focus more on self discipline. People should be in control of their lives and do things that make them successful. You, Cynthia, have achieved a lot in the last 5 years. So tell us about some of your accomplishments and the motivation that made them successful.
So, as it pertains to work, I just believe over the past 5 years, so much has transpired in what I do daily. So, I am the owner of Minds of the Future Academy, and just about 5 years ago, I was closing one facility abruptly overnight and opening another one within the same week. So but it didn't go the way that I planned, unfortunately, but I had to keep moving. So I did open a private school, And in the midst of the pandemic, I opened another daycare and another private school. And so I've just really been busy over the past 5 years with trying to grow those locations. And actually, they grew pretty quickly, but just maintaining and trying to expand out ideas that I've had over an extension of time. They're coming faster than what I expected because of the growth of those facilities. So for me, with even just being an educator and just having an idea and mindset to help prepare children for a foundation of learning. 5 years ago, no one could have told me it would have been the way it is today. So today, I have over 120 students that are enrolled in my schools, and they range from as young as actually 2 years old all the way to second grade. So I just would like to say, I've been really blessed with the opportunity to lead and just impact lives over the past 5 years. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yes, and you have been doing an excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, time is valuable, as I stated before. We all have the same amount of time, yet some people tend to be able to manage well, while others not so much. How
Mhm.
are you able to manage your different hats? Do you use time management tools or other tools and techniques?
Just recently, like over the past 2 weeks, I have learned to really stick to my calendar in my phone. That's really what's been working best for me. Like I said, up until that time, it was all just memory. I just knew when I wake up in the morning what my day entails, what all I have to do. But most recently, a lot more things have been added to my plate, so I have to take a note and I have to abide, just really go by those notes. And again, like I use the calendar not only for telling me how or helping me how to manage my day, but also with notes and things and conversations and phone calls I need to make, whether it's personal or professional. I just have to utilize, notes. And I do rely on my team. I have a very good team, and I'm building my team to help me with the operations daily at Minds of the Future and at Studio 3903, which I forgot to tell you all that in the beginning of the intro here, is that I am the owner of Studio 3903. And that too has taken off. So what I was just telling someone today, without me even getting the website is not even done for people to book. The flyer is not completely done. It's just say coming soon, but people are already booking, and or they're stopping by to book at the school, or they're inquiring about it. So I'm having to move faster on my projects than what I anticipated. So one thing that I just learned from everything that I have done over the past few years with the school, with the event center, and the daycares is that before, like, coming soon means I'm ready right now. When can I drop my kid off? When can I book your facility? How do I enroll? So I have to just make sure that with my time management, that I roll out everything appropriately, so that when I do roll it out, people can actually patronize it. But I also have to remember and realize with my time management, I do a lot of things on deadlines. I don't talk to anybody without a deadline. Anything. It can be I'll get back to you about coming in to shampoo the carpets at the daycare. Okay, well, when will you be able to get back with me? I do everything on a deadline. I put it in my calendar. So that means for me, I need to follow up with you. And then I put a reminder on so it's ringing, let me know, like, okay, this is what's supposed to be happening right now. They help me remember, even with this interview, it was in my calendar. So but I do everything on a deadline because I just think that's so important. And I don't do it on the deadline. I do it before the deadline, so I would know, like, hey, you have this that you need to be prepared for, or this is what you have coming up for, so I won't miss it. And for the most part, some days the calendar be so full until I can't keep up with what I do have going on, if that makes sense. So that means we're not really keep up, but that means like I'm going from one thing to the next. I try not to make my days like that because I am human. And just most recently, I decided to enroll into a workout class, and it's an hour, and I said if I can't get 2 hours out of the week for myself, then I'm doing something wrong. So 2 hours out of the week I go to a class. That is my time. That is where I don't let anything get in the way of that. Everybody's schedule in my home and at work can't interfere with that 1 hour that I have 2 times a week, because that's just really needed. So if somebody watching this, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and a lot of people always ask me like, well, how do you do it? You have this going on, you manage this, then and then your grandson is a DJ. So, but and I, I have to manage that and make sure that he's also on top of his schoolwork and everything else. So people say, well, how do you manage and how do you do it all? Like now, I just think that is routine. So it's routine for me when I wake up to do certain things, even though I have a schedule. The schedule helps me make sure things are done. They keep me on task. They keep me organized. But the actual what I have to do for the most part is routine. So at the beginning of the month, I know like at work, I'm very busy. From the first through the fifth, I'm very, very busy at work. I know that I shouldn't schedule appointments, shouldn't schedule things because the first through the fifth, I'm very busy. And so I know like my load, I know when I can put more things on my calendar than what is expected. I'm aware of it. But sometimes my husband, your son, say, why are you adding that? You already have a lot going on. You know you're trying to do this. But I take it on and I just manage it. But I know when I've had enough. I know when I'm getting to a point that I need to take a break or don't put anything else on my schedule, or I just know. And then the people that's around me, that work with me, like shoulder to shoulder, they're like, hey, you just need to take a break, or maybe you just need to do something for yourself or something like that. So, but that don't happen often because like I'm a go-getter and I'm motivated to meet Oprah. And so I can't stop because I need Oprah to know what I'm doing here in Jacksonville. So I'm not gonna stop.
Well, we don't need you to stop. However, and this is kind of like not really getting off the subject, but knowing everything that you are doing. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you're saying now that you are taking 2 hours a week for
Yeah.
yourself, because this is Mental Health Month.
Hmm.
And with all the things that you have going, and then I know you're glad your son is driving now, but
Yeah.
it's so much going on that you have to take that break.
Hmm.
Sometimes you're going so much. It's like someone that has worked for years and years and years, and they were healthy, they were never sick, and as soon as they stop working, they find out they have cancer or something, because
Hmm.
they've been so, their body has
Hmm.
been so motivated and busy and
Hmm.
whatever, they didn't even have time to realize that, I have a pain or something that's just not right. So it is
Hmm.
very, very important to take care of yourself.
Hmm.
And all of that you were saying that you were doing, unless I missed it now. So you don't even have an assistant to help you keep your
No, no, no. I need one. So if somebody watching this, send me somebody, please. It's viewers on here, so I really need you all to send me somebody, please.
Yep, sounds like you need an assistant now.
Yeah, everybody keep telling me that. I'm not a micromanager, and the people at the employees can tell you that. But I just like to, do things the
Do it
way
myself
I like
before
to
I know
do
it's done.
them. You know, it's just one person that this pretty much everybody knows I refer to her as my right hand, who's also the director at one of the schools, and she helps me out so much. But it just has to be the right person that understands, communicating the correct way. I work with adults. I work with people's most prized possessions. So you have to just be you have to be built for working with people's most prized possessions. I'm talking about your communication, your body language, your interactions. Everything has to be on 100% perfection when you're working with people's children. So, and a lot of times, I always tell the parents that if you coming into the building, and if there's an issue, I'm very strict. If I'm not here and you see my right hand, not that I don't think anyone else is capable, but you have to make sure your communications are on point with explanation. If a parent or someone is asking you a question about a child or their child, so I haven't found, I don't think I really even was looking, because again, I've been going and I've been doing and I'm task oriented. So that just hasn't been one of my tasks. With it's been in communication to me from other people, just like you saying, like, hey, you doing all this without assistant, you need an assistant. And today, someone actually did call me and just told me, I have an assistant for you. So I'm really waiting to hear about that. But honestly, I don't completely know what all the assistant can take off my plate, because I'm so used to certain things on my plate, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, with my son, I have been interviewing people last week for him an assistant. I'm like, I don't even have one, but he needs one to help with what he's doing with the music, because I want to make sure that he's going down the right path. And a lot of things that I do or his dad has done, we tell him you don't have to go down that road. So I think that will help as well, because I do get a lot of phone calls about him and events that people want him to go to. And actually, he was invited to a career day at a school, and I wasn't even invited. No, I'm just joking. But he was invited to go to a school and speak to elementary age students, which is perfect because he's a high schooler. So they're really gonna enjoy that. But just, making sure that he is in great hands at all times. His need is far more greater than mine right now, because I have been managing, but I'm gonna work on all both of these things.
Great job. Well, I just want to take a break here to say good evening and welcome to Deacon Holmes, Dan Smith, Peggy, Linda Patrick, Tamika Mack, Lenore Flowers, and Cynthia Ferguson. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And we are talking about motivation. My own time is valuable, and time includes organizing needs. And Dr. Cynthia Smith is here with me today. So, Cynthia, what are some helpful tips that will assist students in taking more initiative in their education, becoming motivated and progressive in projects, taking SATs, applying for college, things of that nature?
Okay, so I'm gonna speak elementary, and then I'm gonna answer that secondary, because it's a two-part answer. So
Okay.
for elementary age students, the students that I work with right now, that answer really, my answer to that is really in regards to parents, because at that age, parents are, we always say, like, your first teacher is not the teachers that they see in the school. The first teacher is their teacher at their home, their parents. So when it comes down to like SAT, ACT preparation, even at a young age, they can be prepared for that type of learning. At my school, Minds of the Future, every month we have a word of the month. My word of the month come from an SAT, ACT book. So imagine these kids learning words, now for now for a test later, there those words should be in their vocabulary because that's the purpose. We utilize the word the entire month at the school. Every single day they hear it, every single day. But using it in their vocabulary while they're at school. So they have the familiarity with the word when they get older, and now it is part of their everyday vocabulary. So, but that's at school. But parents can also utilize this same type of exercise with their kids and making sure that that they are. I always tell parents, they say, oh well, he likes to be on a tablet or they like to be on the on the phones, but it's educational things they can do on the phone. I tell them at least require them to do something educational 30 minutes 30 minutes a day. Kids learn things off YouTube. So put them on YouTube, something educational for them to watch. It doesn't have to be anything that they necessarily have to manipulate or do physical, but just have them to watch something because at the age they are, their brain retains information, and it helps prepare them truly for a foundation at a young age. For secondary age students, I just believe that they're older, and but that's a two-part answer because a lot of times if they don't have a foundation to help them or encourage them on the importance of education or preparation for a SAT, SAT, or any other type of testing that can give them some type of technical certification, then they don't have any true motivation for that. But see, that's where I think programs like such as positive after school programs such as the Boys and Girls Club, we have one at Minds of the Future Academy, community service, that's where the village comes in at really to help those children, to want to encourage them to actually prepare for their life outside of high school or middle school. Because, just taking an example with SAT, SAT, that's given, every 3 months or so. But if kids don't really know about it or understand the importance of what it can really do for them, then they're really not going to take it seriously. I just remember my first time taking SAT. I never talked about this. I didn't take it. I didn't even know the difference. I didn't know that, one is more vocabulary based, one is more comprehension. I had no idea what either was one, but I ended up taking the ACT, and I didn't even know the passing score. I just took the ACT. I didn't even know the importance of the ACT. They have guidance counselors at school, teachers, they may talk about it, but unless you have someone that's really encouraging you to understand what the importance of it is, how it's going to help you get into colleges. But again, on the flip side, there are kids that don't desire to go to college. But even for the kids that don't desire to go to college, I was talking to one of my mentees on yesterday, and she might be watching this, or she probably is watching this later. But I was talking to her yesterday, and she was talking about nursing school and how she wants to go to nursing school. So with nursing school, you have to take an entry level exam to get in there as well. So these assessments that students may have to take once they graduate high school, they may not necessarily be a SAT, SAT, but they are entry level exams, and preparation for those exams now can help those children in the long run. So, preparation, what does that look like right now? Any after school or program that may be given or through their particular school, that's a great thing to do. And again, like I said, there are various tutoring facilities that also offer students the opportunity to be prepared for exams as such. But ACT, SAT is definitely, a way that I recommend students to start on it as early as 10th grade, so that they can get that score they need to pass and get into that college. But again, that goes from research as well, because again, students should start researching colleges and things as early as, my opinion, ninth grade, having conversation about it if that's their desire to go. And I just want to say this, because I don't know if young people watching this, they're gonna watch this later. There's been a lot of conversations I've been in with young people about going to college, not going to college, being an entrepreneur, and not going to college. So I'm just gonna tell you all that I'm an entrepreneur now, and I do believe that every child should have some type of a certification or a degree to have in the event that entrepreneurship don't work out, or in the event that something happens, they always or could have something to fall back on. I just think that's so important. So I know a lot of people nowadays are pushing entrepreneurship, and that's great. But what happens if we have another, disaster in the world? What happens then? And your entrepreneurial business goes slow. At least you have something to go back on. I can always go and be a teacher anywhere because I have a teaching certificate and I'm going to keep it forever. So I can go teach anywhere at any time. That's my fallback. But every everybody should have a backup plan. You couldn't have said it better. Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Even if they are, say, a lot of people, they win sports scholarships or whatever. So they're looking to go to the NFL or
Mhm.
NBA or whatever, and they may make it.
Mhm.
However, they don't
Mhm.
know if they're going to have an accident. They could have an accident before they get in that first game, you
Mhm.
know, and, they get a part of their contract and they see all these figures and then they just, spend it all. And then something happens and they're not bringing in that type of money. What is your fallback plan? You
Mhm.
didn't learn a trade. So, like you said, not everyone has to go to college. They can take up welding, they can go in military. There's
Mhm.
so many other things, but you do need that plan B. I agree totally.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Now, so like I said, you didn't you gave a great introduction, but like you said, you didn't know what all to say, so you left out a lot. But
What all I left out? Tell me.
oh, but I'm going to send my next question because you have taught teenagers.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so I know you have taught teenage boys, and now you and your husband are raising a teenager. So, what techniques or advice would you offer young men to successfully manage their lives from an educator's perspective?
Well, I think that it depends on for a teenager, it depends on what direction they think they want to go in, because I don't think they probably would clearly know. I think as a teenage boy, they have interests. I think, whether they have, I mean, interests, whether it be sports, whether it be a college, whether it just be what their desire is in life. So I think from a parent's perspective, with us having a teenager here, is really taking that time to talk to them and see where they are. Communicating with them. Teenagers, especially boys, they deal with a lot of stuff, and they're not as vocal maybe as a young girl or young lady would be, a teenage girl. So I think that it's so important, like, to just really take that time and talk to them and see what their issues or anything that they may be having difficulty with. Now, this may sound very weird or just not foreseen in some households, but in communicating with teenage boys, I just think that you have to sometime meet them where they at to really understand, to really hear what they're saying and how they're feeling, because mental health is real in our community, and we just don't talk about it. And we think, and I'm a mental health counselor, so let me tell you all that. That was one thing I left on my intro. Yes, I'm Dr. Smith, the educated educator, but I do have a master's degree in mental health counseling. And I just decided not to do it after I got the degree and did my internship and got hired at an amazing facility. After being there for 2 months, I decided I can't be a mental health counselor because people really have issues and they really need to talk to someone about it. Now, some people feel comfortable going back to teenagers. Some people feel comfortable talking to you about the issues. But one of the things that we do in my home, we hear, and if there's an issue and you don't want to talk about it, teenage son, then text. We'll text, hey, what's going on, or something like that, because that's part of meeting teenagers where they are. They like the text. I know that we grew up, oh, just call me. You can just talk to me. You can do this. You can. But to start the conversation off, it may be something very uncomfortable. That's why you have to meet these teenagers where they are. It's not that they get in their way, they doing what they want to do. It's just like, it's a way to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. But then, it's kind of like you would be at a win-win situation at the end with them, if that's the way you would think anyways, because you're bringing them out and they feeling open enough to talk to you and tell you what it is that what it is that's going on with them. So that's just two of the best things that work for us with having a teenager.
Hmm. That's interesting, but I like that,
Yeah.
because I mean, like you say, any way that you can communicate with them, because it's very important. And there are so many that, they are really hollering out, pay me attention, is something I want to talk about, but they don't know exactly how to do that. Those crucial conversations, deep conversations. So, hey, if they're
Mhm.
comfortable texting, I got you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's good. All right. Um, that same question from not educators. But I think you did answer it from a mother's perspective instead of educator's
Yeah,
perspective.
I did. I went mothers. I probably should have went backwards.
But so,
Yeah, because
like,
from
yeah.
an educator's perspective, I probably would tell, like, see, I would do something, so I would do something just the opposite, but because we're not texting, if I'm an educator student, so I would tell you to write a letter, or write down how you're feeling, fold it up, don't put your name on it if you don't feel like it. I would do something similar to the same extent, because a lot of times teenagers have a difficult time verbalizing how they feel. So, like, you want me to tell you about what happened with something in my day, but I don't really feel comfortable doing that. And also, I'm gonna flip back to parent. Well, another thing that we do is, I mean, everybody notice if they follow me, but we make sure that there is time with just the child alone, not in the home, something out that they like doing. I just remember when I was a teenager, my time alone with my mama. My mom, she would get me, we would be in a car, and I would feel trapped. I don't. I wouldn't want. I don't want to. You can't give teenagers today that type of feeling where they feel trapped back against the wall. That's the only way they can communicate with you and talk with you. They have to feel open. They have to feel as though, like, there's a relationship there. But it's the same as an educator. Like, when I was an educator and educating teenagers, some of them would rather not go to class, but come talk to me and be in my class and tell me what's going on in their home. And I just think that it's about relationship for when it comes down for educator to student. Relationship, trust, that lets me feel open enough to communicate with you and tell you what's going on in my home, and I feel safe with talking to you. So I just think that is very important.
Yeah. And I like what Cynthia Ferguson says. She says, being able to communicate with teenagers does mean meeting them where they are. Sometimes we forget that times have changed.
Yeah,
And that
that's
is
a good
so
one.
true.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Cynthia
Mhm.
Ferguson.
Yeah.
Okay. When you were in the classroom, what was lacking from parents that students needed to be their very best? Was there, like not just a one on, but something that you saw a lot of where the parents were not hitting it? and therefore the students were suffering.
So now that I'm out the classroom and I'm a parent, I'm gonna answer that two ways. One, when I was in the classroom, I did see a lot of parents that did not. Times have changed, just as Cynthia Ferguson said. So times change as well with parent to child being in school with what's happening, what's going on, how can they be involved, how are they actually passing? Because you have, when I was teaching and I was in the classroom, I was in secondary, so I taught high school students. So a lot of parents didn't they knew credits you needed to graduate, but how many, and was this class important? So I always say that with me starting my own school years later, my first 2 years of opening the school, I felt like I spent more time educating the parents than I did the kids. Like, what is STEM? Why is it important? How's it going to help your child in the future? So those are just some of the questions that I got, that I made sure I answered, that wasn't asked, because a lot of times parents, because they lack what's going on in the schools with how to help their child at home, but they also don't know what questions to ask of school officials. So I used to, when I was in the classroom, I used to take what if I was a parent, and I used to just outright create questions and I would answer them on my own to parents. And then that way that parents that was my way of also making parents feel comfortable enough to feel as though they can ask questions without someone thinking that, oh, I should know this, or I should understand what's going on. So I think that that's important. But on the flip side, now that I'm a parent, I think that schools, and I'm going to talk public schools because my kids go to public school and I'm a private school owner, but I just think that public schools need to do a better job with bringing parents into the school, and educating them on what their particular child's education should look like while they are in that school, in that particular grade level. Because I think that the school system, the public school system, I'm talking from 16 years of education, they're so used to, a lot of parents, the majority of the parents, especially in a specific areas of town, they're so used to parents not being involved until when they do come up there. From what my experience has been, a lot of times it's because of behavior or grade correction. And I just think that that needs to stop, because that's why there's so many other schools opening and parents are not, they don't have a problem with, I'm going to switch my kid over to this charter or this private quickly, because they, from what I see, just now being on the administrator side and private, parents are feeling as though they're involved. They have a buy-in into their child's education, and they like that, regardless of what they look like, what the statistics say they do, how they behave. They still deserve a chance with understanding how to be a parent and educate their child. So that's just my feedback.
Okay, very good. I think that was good information. Because from where I sit, my how long it's been since my kids have been out of school, but I'm always wanting to know, are parents involved? Are they knowing, what they need to know, and not at the last minute when it's almost too late, for that
Mhm.
junior or senior.
Mhm.
Okay. So that has been wonderful. For this last question, if you could please provide our teens, and hopefully we may not have any teens on here, but hopefully those of you who are viewing will share with teens that you know. But could you provide us? Okay, I'm going to take this from Cynthia first, Cynthia Ferguson first, and then I'll ask the question. Okay, she
Okay.
says parents do need to be educated on what if what is going on with their child in school, but the parent also has to want to be educated on this information. Yes. Unfortunately, we still have a lot of parents that don't see things this way, then get upset when they don't know what is going on. You're right. And Cynthia is in education as well.
Hi.
Oh, yes. Okay, so provide our teens with some tips on getting the most from their high school years. What's going to benefit them in building their best life?
One, have fun. Two, remember that you are a teenager. And three, get all of your credits and understand your credits, understand GPA. Number four, have fun. Number five, research colleges, start thinking about your life after high school. I know that sounds so serious, but if you refer to one and four, that's have fun, because I keep saying that have fun and enjoy those years because they go by really fast, but also, taking is serious and understanding what does it look like for me after graduation. And one other thing that I would definitely add is if you can get all of your classes and credits out the way early on, then do it. If you want to graduate early on, then do it. But utilize Florida virtual. Think about after you think of utilize. Let me go back to that. Utilize Florida virtual. Understand how and what class you can take, so that you can graduate and get all of your credits and have the GPA that is desired or needed in order to get in the college that you desire to go into. Do your research on different careers. What is your interest? Try to do community service. You get community service hours as a high school. You have to do community service hours to get in some of these colleges. Go do your community service in areas in which you're interested in. So if you want to be an attorney, call an attorney's office and say, hey, I'm a high school student. I would love to come and do community services 5 hours a day. Do that is a way that you can get in and really see if you want to be that attorney when you graduate high school. I've had numerous people to come through and say, "Hey, I want to open a school one day, just like this. Can you mentor me? Yes, come in. You get to see the ins out. There is no better way for you to do your research than to be in a facility and getting direct understanding and seeing firsthand of what's going on. That's real time. So nothing really beats those things for you, and making sure that you get where you need to be in order to you know graduate and have a life outside of that.
Okay, I hope I got them all.
Oh, okay. I was trying to slow down.
All right, let's see. I
Yes.
said utilize Florida virtual, have fun, do community service, know your GPA.
Hmm.
What else? Did I miss something?
I'm gonna add on there because I see on the screen say follow people in the field you're interested in. That includes networking.
Okay.
So because you have to take they have to take advantage of being a teenager. That's what I'm teaching my son, is take advantage of being a teenager. Those years go by really fast. And when I say take advantage of being a teenager, is it's so many adults in the world right now, especially with what all is going on. They love to see teenagers do positive things, do good things, do things, in a spotlight for things that is uplifting and enriching. So I'm teaching him now about an elevator pitch. Like he was like, what is that? That's where I'm working at now. I'm working on him elevator pitch. That means that if you're in a room, he said the other night, well, you may not know who this is, but he was at the concert the other night and he was backstage and he said, I looked up and little baby was standing right on the side of me. They was backstage in the dressing room. He said, I looked up and little baby was standing right on the side of me. That's a rapper. He's like a big rapper, real famous, like top of the charts. So I said, well, what did you say? He said, I didn't know what to say. I was starstruck. So I just responded elevator pitch. And he
Mhm.
said, elevator pitch, what's that? I say we're gonna work on that because you got to work on your elevator pitch. You don't know who you're gonna be around. What is it that you want to say? Well, he wasn't welcoming. He wasn't this. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. Your elevator pitch has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with your approach to how you're going to communicate with the person. So that's what we're working on.
Good. Yes, that's part of your actions. Your actions.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Very good. Very good. So, maybe you did, and I missed it. But did you, when we started out, did you tell everybody that your Minds of the Future is a STEM school and some of the fun things that the kids get to do, like the newscasters and the weathermen and all?
I know I jumped right in. I didn't even tell them about, I didn't even say the school name, but for those of you that's on here, the school, my school is Minds of the Future Academy on Main Street across from the best high school ever in Duval County, which is Andrew Jackson High School. Go Tigers. And everybody know every platform I get, I say my school and I say that school because that's where I graduated from. But we are a STEM school, and I always give Andrew Jackson props because out of all the schools I toured before opening Minds of the Future outside of Florida, Andrew Jackson was really one of the only, it was the only school that I adopted the STEM model from. So we are really interested, our students are really interested in the robotics, the coding, and we want to add the cybersecurity. That is the exact program that Andrew Jackson has. But within that, that is what we focus is. That's what we're focusing on, which is the highlight. But they do media, they do music. Next year we have some surprises I can't release just yet, but we're going to be the first ever to do it in probably Florida. So I'm really excited about that. We had a partnership with Microsoft, and unfortunately, Microsoft is no longer in Jacksonville. So all of our things now are virtual, but we still have our partnership with them, but it's virtual. Our students participated in the robotics competition just 2 weeks ago, and we did win two awards. And I really should know the name of those awards, but I will tell you one of them is building and design. And this year, our theme for the entire school was a cargo connect, teaching students about transportation and logistics, what it looks like. So students know, believe it or not, at an early age, what Amazon is. They know about the UPS truck, and a percentage of them have been on airplanes. But this year they were tasked with building a model. So imagine a child trying to build something that they've never seen. It's about imagination, creativity. That is what our students did this year, because and it was actually creativity and imagination for me too, because when we had visitors and city leaders to come in, I had no idea that the students had built Jacksport. So the before we had city leaders to come in, because part of what we do is prepare students to go before the judges. So I bring in people who they're unfamiliar with and have them to do their presentation, and it helps them with confidence. It helps them with speaking fluently. So when they get in front of the judges, they're not making those mistakes. And at the end, we had one of the city leaders just say, have you took the kids to Jacksport? And I was like, no. And it was like, well, this is Jacksport. Like the kids built Jacksport. I had no idea. So that was the kindergartners. For the first and second grade students, they all were dressed up as logistics drivers. So we had Amazon, we had a train conductor, we had UPS, and a pilot. The purpose of whatever they was dressed up as, whether it was Amtrak, UPS, or Amazon, they had to demonstrate what they actually do with their prototype and what they built. So it was just amazing. But the video will be coming really soon, and I'll be sharing that via the school page. But yeah, I do own Minds of the Future Academy, which takes up the majority of my time during the day because that is my day job.
And how those people that live in Jacksonville, how can they contact you at Minds of the Future?
Oh, they can contact us via the website, mindsofthefutureacademy.com, or they can call us at 904-683-3971, and you will speak to my amazing secretary who will answer the phone, and she'll get you everything you need. And we do tours. We actually do tours, but right now we're undergoing renovations in all of our buildings by implementing more technology. So smart boards, dock cameras, we're implementing all those things for August school year. And so we're
Awesome.
excited about that.
Awesome. Great job.
Okay.
All right. Proud of you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And please join us on Thursday. It will be time for coffee chat with Deborah and Carol. And we're going to be talking about habits that assist you in improving your self-discipline. So join us Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I appreciate you tuning in today because you could have been anywhere else, but you joined Build Your Best Life. You know, your life is what you make of it. So please begin to follow my basic principles, not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. And building your best life is our commitment, is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward next week. My grandson, DJ Gucci Boy will be on
Yeah.
next week. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
All right. So thank you all so much for tuning in again. And I hope to see you on Thursday. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.